Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Make We Talk program. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Make We Talk. We're supposed to be talking transport this evening. We're waiting on our guests them to come on. This evening, we're going to speak about the transport sector, what is going on within the transport sector. I see wherein the Minister of National Security laid down some things in the House of Parliament this evening or today. Now we must find out for ourselves. Is it that the powers may be in this country do not understand that if they continue the way they're continuing with the public transport sector, we're going to be faced with a fundamental problem. And the problem we're going to be faced with is that they're going to have a stick out by members of the transport sector. So if we do not understand what is going on in this country of ours, or the powers may be who lead this country, can I understand that the time has come that they need to tell the public transport sector what they're up to. Mr. Brian, turn the TV down for me, please. What they're up to. Because the fact of the matter is, we are faced with a problem in this country. Honorable Brian, welcome to the Make We Talk program, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Tavares, Jeffrey Tavares. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. What do you think about what's going on in the public transport sector?
Well, first of all, I must say good afternoon or good evening to the people who are joining the channel here, both at home here in Jamaica and abroad. I am viewing what is happening within the sector with great interest because I'm aware as to the import of the public transportation sector outside of the JUTC, what it means to the economic fabric of Jamaica.
Yes.
And indeed, against that background, I think we all should be concerned because irrespective of who sits in Jamaica House, you want to ensure that we have the best outcome for Jamaica.
Indeed.
And the public transportation system has the kind of tentacles that it could literally damage our very, very fragile economy here in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I had Mr. President for Jatu,
Louis Barton,
on my program. We had a very, very good interview, and we look at a number of things there, possibilities, and we raised the whole point as to how there could be some settlement in this, that it would be a win-win for all. And I tend to share those views. And chief among them is the government pretty much write off the tickets that are outstanding now. And this would not just impact the public transportation operator, but it would impact public operator, vehicle owners as well, because indeed, based on the flawed system, there are persons within the private motor vehicle carrier who are impacted by what is happening now. What do I mean by that? Simply because there is no joined up system in terms of the tax office, TAJ, Tax Administration Jamaica, and the police and indeed the court system. They are not interlinked. So therefore, tickets are paid, but there's no connectivity to say to the police or to the court that this ticket is already paid. It gets worse because when you question this, the people, they're asking you to present your receipts, payment receipt. No, Mr. Tavares. The truth is that even for matters that is considered even more important than a traffic ticket, we're not keeping those receipts, let alone a traffic ticket. And indeed, the paper that those tickets are printed on, very, 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 inferior. So in no time, the receipt basically disintegrate. You can't make out nothing at all on it. So, those are some other things happening. But I think that the fact that the government create to this mayhem, and one could say that it's across successive government that the system is allowed to be loose in terms of not having the checks and balance with different agencies, then it's only fair for the government to take some of the responsibility and give people a reprieve. And the fact that they're coming in with a new act, along with the regulation, then certainly they should, in my humble opinion, I believe that they should start afresh. I'm also positing the view, Mr. Tavares, that we must ensure that all of these things that are now a problem in the system, those things should be fixed before the new act come into being. It should not just be put in place to say, listen, we have a new act in place as of the 1st of February. So this evening, I heard the Minister of Security in the Parliament, and he was saying that, listen, these checks and balances are now in place, the things are now regulated, and electronically the system will be able to pick up once you get a ticket. It's actually trigger between TRJ and indeed the court system. So that is something. If that is so, then that is good. But when the rubber hits the road, Mr. Tavares, the minister that people in the transport sector was depending on to give them a reprieve today, he basically doubled down and said, listen, go and pay a ticket by the ending of this month, because
but Conrad O'Brien, sorry to butt in like that.
No problem.
I have Reverend Finnegan on now. But listen to me, the question, I've been asking this question, I have been asking this question time and time again. I grew up in a political home, you see? And I don't believe one damn thing politician tell me. Amen?
There you go.
So if they continue believing these politicians, they realize that the transport sector right now is in a disarray. And you know why I end up saying it's in a disarray? Listen to this. Because, listen to this. It came out from it was on the Jamaica Observer. Came out on the Jamaica Observer. It says, Taxis Association in St. James, Trelawney, says they will not support a strike if called by their counterparts in other sections of the island to force government to give them a ticket amnesty. Now tell me something now. One going the other way, one going so, or one going so. You think the government of this country going to take anybody serious?
Well, that's the anomaly there, because when you look at if you're a part of any group and you want to put government to the test and you want to force government act hands, then certainly you have to be united. And from all accounts, we're seeing some amount of this unity within the sector. I spoke to President Newman of
Jatu, of TADS.
Of TADS,
yes,
earlier this evening, and you know, he was quite subdued, so to speak, with the pronouncement coming out of the parliament this afternoon. He said that, listen, you know, they'll have to look at their next option. Certainly they're looking at option in terms of withdrawing of service and also going to the High Court to see if they have any redress there. And that's where it's at the moment. He said to me also that they will be having a meeting. He will be having some meeting with other stakeholders this evening at 8 o'clock. That is a little way from now, or maybe about 40 minutes or so away from now. They will be having that meeting. I don't know who will be those stakeholders that he will be meeting with. President Barton is... Okay.
Yes, like how I have Reverend Finnegan of the One Voice Group and Mr. Bruce Miller, who is a bus operator and bus owner. He owns a company. And I said, Reverend Finnegan, what is your views on what happened today in the parliament, sir?
A pleasant night to you, Mr. Tavares, and to all the members of the panel and to your wider listenership. Well, what happened today is what we were promised when we met with the minister the week before Christmas, that the first sitting of Parliament, the press release that we got in early December, would have passed into law and gazetted. So that was done today in Parliament. But throughout his short presentation, he would have repeated several times, go pay your ticket. And it brings me back to the statement I made when I addressed Minister Shaw at Boulevard Baptist Church, that this whole thing is not about safety. It is about collecting the money. Now, our problem now at One Voice is that for the next 20 days, it is going to be totally impossible to pay the ticket through the court to catch the 31st of January deadline. And even when we met with the minister before Christmas, I personally pointed out to him, and I gave him the example of November when people were running in with their printout to get court date.
Yes.
The court could not handle the crowd each day. That the Chief Justice went there and saw what was happening, increased the hours until 9 p.m. and increased the days to Saturday. And I said to the minister, even with that increase, the court couldn't handle it. Now, whenever the law is passed for this traffic payment, the court is not going to be handling it. And surprisingly, people went to court yesterday to get court date and have gotten date all over in February. And I was told by an operator today that he got a June date.
So those persons.
Hold on for me, Conrad. Finish what you're gonna say. Then the Conrad come in.
Yes, so those persons that has been going in recently for court date and getting date February and further on in the year. Now they are not going to be able to face the judge for the deadline. Their court date is after the deadline. So our position as it is now is that one, the announcement was made in a press release in early December for a closing date of the 31st of January, but there was no commencement date. And two is that grand announcement was made in a press release and it was not passed into law. And those of us that did not know run to the court to pay and start lose license from as early in December. The other issue I want to point to is you mentioned something in the Observer about some parishes that put out a
Yes, St.
release.
James, Trelawney, and so forth.
Well, there's two things to that, you know. One is what is affecting us in the KMTR is not affecting them, because all the reports I've been getting up to yesterday from the country courts, the judges are not doubling the fine and they are not taking anyone license. Because I've asked my members in every parish, when you go to court, give me a report. And up to yesterday, one of our members went to court in St. Mary on warrant. She paid $5,000, which would have been the standard fine, and the judge didn't take her license. So while they are not going through what the operators and the KMTR is going through, they can say they not going to strike because they wouldn't have nothing to strike for.
So hold on now. Before I make Colonel Bryan come on and I have Bruce Miller to come on. So the question must be asked: is it that the jurisprudence is different from the jurisprudence in Kingston and St. Andrew? Mr. Finnegan?
Well, we don't know, you know. We are only surmising what could have been the reason why the pressure is on the KMTR and it is not on any other parish. And one of the thing that conclusion that we come into is that there's a deliberate attempt on the part of government to push the operators and investors in the KMTR out of business. While we do not have substantial evidence to speak to it, but how could you have one law in the land of Jamaica and it is being operated by the courts in two different ways? The KMTR is doing one thing where the court is concerned, and the other 12 parishes are doing something else. And we're talking about specifically traffic offenses. So we are all surmising within the sector in Kingston what could be the reason why judges are lenient in 12 parishes, but the judges in Kingston and St. Andrew are seizing the license. My understanding of the law is that when you incur 10 demerits points or more, your license can be suspended. Well, I shouldn't have said this, but since I start, one of our senior operators called me 10 minutes ago to tell me that an operator license was seized yesterday on 8 demerit points. And I said to him, no, 10 is the minimum. And he said to me that the judge can use her power to determine if she sees it at 8.
Based on what the Minister of National Security said in the Parliament today, he said that they only formulate the law in a sense, but the judge have the right to do whatever they want to do.
Well, he did tell us something similar to that.
Honorable Bryan?
All right. My knowledge is this: unless you have within the legislation that cover the whole business of points, demerit points, and it clearly point out that, listen, 8 points is where there is a discretion with the judge. Then the judge would be able to basically take the license for that. However, if it's clear, if it's explicitly state that, listen, it is 10 points, then the judge will have to operate like that. Because remember that the judge don't make up the law as they go along, you know. The judge basically can interpret and execute the law. Also, as it relates to the situation where other operators outside of the KMTR paying different fine and being treated differently. That is a discretion now that the judge has, right? Or the judge have that they can basically use that discretion. So long as they are dealing with the basic principle. For example, to say that a person is supposed to pay $5,000, right? Once they're sticking to that edict and the $5,000, then that is so. However, where I would have a problem is if there are persons outside of Kingston and St. Andrew who racked up more than 10 points, and then, or 10 points, as you say, and the judge outside of Kingston basically not carrying out the law in that regard. And in Kingston, they're sticking to that law. As it relates to the government want to get rid of the public transportation, just a sec, Jeffrey, want to get rid of the public transportation system in Kingston and St. Andrew. I don't think so, because first thing to begin with, I don't think government's stupid. The first thing to begin with is that government don't even have a proper JUTC. There's supposed to be a rollout of 400 and something buses from the JUTC each day. They're rolling out 200 plus. So I don't think so.
But Canada Brian, you know, when you look at the whole system, one have to ask that same question if the government want to get rid of the transportation system in Kingston and St. Andrew. I'm gonna have my good friend Bruce Miller to come on. Mr. Miller, unmute your mic for me. What is your views on what happened in the parliament today, sir?
Yes, sir, Jeffrey. Good evening, and good evening to the rest of the panel. Unfortunately, I wasn't. I was out of town, and I didn't get access to see what transpired in Parliament today. You know, so I am just here. But what I can say is that with the whole ticketing saga, it is very unfortunate, because the government would have admitted that there are errors in the system, and tickets that were paid are coming back as unpaid. And if you cannot buy your own admission, if you are going ahead to send people to prison, I think that is wrong. And I think the government, if you ask me, I'm not a lawyer, but there's a legal term, proof beyond doubt or something like that. And in this case,
proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, so in this case, there is doubt where tickets are being paid. And I think that the government should wipe the slate clean, and moving forward should have zero tolerance with traffic offenders.
You are so right, Mr. Miller. But you know, we're here talking, and I am trying to figure out. I keep on asking this question over and over again. When the presidents of the public transport sector of the various group going to the meeting with the Minister of Transportation, the Minister of National Security, who's the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Justice, Delroy Chuck, what was the conversation? Did they look at them and say to them, say, ministers, your system is at fault. Your system has a major glitch in it. From Wappy Kill Philip. What are you all going to do about it? In case you all don't know, and some lawyers can correct me on this, I personally believe that the government continue infringing on the fundamental human rights of the Jamaican people by pushing this thing down their throat when they know the system has a fault.
Well, Jeffrey, that's a great point you're making there, because, and the gentleman, Mr. Miller, before also weighed in on that. And I believe that is where the operators, owners, operators, and so on within the sector, I think that's the linchpin that they'll have to pin their argument on, make the case on, based on the flawed system that exists. They have to basically hold on to that point, because and on what we're hearing is that they have persons who they have proof to say that X, Y, and Z had paid their ticket and it reoccurred and they were actually served summons. So if you have that system glitch in the system, how widespread it is? That's the question, how widespread it is. But you know, Jeffrey, you and I, we can talk as hosts and so on and so forth, and people who basically prefer an opinion, you know. they being opinionated persons. We can talk, but I think the question must be asked of persons within the sector. Know that you get something very clear, absolutely no ambiguity there. The minister in the House of Representatives this evening actually went further. He said, go and pay your ticket. If you don't pay your ticket by the 31st, the warrant will be out for you and your license will be taken away. He actually said that this evening. No, the lever that is there with the operators, what are they going to do? As I said earlier, they said that, listen, there's a course of going to the court, get an opinion on it. There's also another avenue that they have, and is to basically flex their muscle and show their might within the economy of Jamaica. Because if remember, notwithstanding those outside of Kingston and St. Andrew, and to include section of Spanish Town, and Portmore, that's the major chunk of the economic activity in Jamaica. So even if there's a united front from those bodies, certainly they would send a powerful message. What they do is up to them. Maybe we should ask Mr. Finnegan. Mr. Finnegan, based on the round robin that you have been doing so far, what's the next move certainly with the people within the KMTR?
All right, our next move is that we have two things on the table, which I can tell you one now, and that is going to the court.
Mm-hmm.
We are presently, as we speak, in consultation with some lawyers. We have signed off on one already. We have an 11 o'clock appointment with another set of lawyers tomorrow. The other option is on the table, but is not one that I would want to discuss on the program.
Okay. Well,
let me find out something here, because there is a gentleman, yes. Is it right? Yes. On the Zoom here. Do you have a comment to make on what happened in the parliament today? And
we're not hearing you, Jeffrey.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were hearing me. I had the mic muted. Mr. As I have him come on here now, Sir Clark, as you come on, you heard what happened in the parliament today?
Just bits and pieces. Greetings, everybody. Just bits and pieces.
So what is your views and everything? Because the minister is saying, go and pay your ticket before the 31st.
Jeffrey, it's confusing, because what I understand, when he has a sit-down meeting with the operators, he says something totally different. He told them that come when Parliament open up back.
Hold on for a minute. There's a sound in the background of somebody.
You might be hearing some music way outside from.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, that they would fix the problems and adjust the payment time and all of that. In lieu of the dates were given, the short notice that was given to pay tickets and so forth. He promised them that a round table talk. But then when he hits the press, he says something different. Now that sounds like a bipolar person to me. Not to knock anybody, sorry. But you're saying one thing in the private, and then when you go public, you're saying something different. I am confused, and it's creating a situation in the sector where drivers are really living in fear. A lot of them are not working because they don't know where they stand. They don't know what's going to happen.
I have a call online.
Go ahead.
Hold on for me. Caller, good night to you, man.
Good night.
Yes, welcome to the Make We Talk transport. What is the reason? What is going on?
Honestly, there are so many elements of the transport sector that I believe that can be very effective. When you look at it, the transport sector is made up of transport authority, make up insurance company, make up of the police and other stakeholders.
Okay. Uh-oh. I'm having a reconnecting issue here with the calls, or WhatsApp call. You know, hello caller? Based on what the caller is saying, the transport sector make up of so many different organizations in a sense. Yes, caller, I lost you a while ago. Go ahead.
Right. It make up of so many sectors, insurance company, transport.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but see, while she's reconnected, Jeffrey, the truth is that all those sectors, all those.
Hold on for me. Are you back?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
You make your point, because stay one place where you are. Don't move from where you are, because you keep on reconnecting. Stay where you are. Don't move.
Right.
Go ahead.
The sector is what it is. And if we realize the amount of disgrace that has been brought forth by Wayne's Lonesome and the Transport Authority, Andre Stevenson, we have to recognize that the transport sector is in a mess. Minister Ardishaw need to at least recreate, restructure the authority, restructure transport authorities, not just transport authority alone. You have JUTC, which is a problem. If the drivers have outstanding tickets, why do they pass 5 or 6 tickets? The police have a system, but that system wants to have flaws in there. There should be a mechanism in place to curb all of these unruly behaviors. The drivers want to extend the payments. I am saying that the onus is on the driver to clear the outstanding tickets. There are so many reckless behavior in the KMTR, and that is causing the inefficiency of the system. The KMTR needs to be clean, and the minister needs to focus on.
Hold on. Make your point. Hold on a minute. Go ahead.
Right. The minister needs to restructure the transport authority, restructure the JUTC, have partnership with the police force, and have a mechanism to track all these tickets and these persons who are breaking offenses continuously. There are elements with technology in place now. There are so many things can be put into place to curb what is happening in the KMTR. The KMTR is a mess, and I think and I believe Mr. Newman, who wants to push certain things to the forefront, need to speak to the drivers. He needs to at least educate these persons and know what they are doing is wrong. Once you have an outstanding ticket, the onus is on you to pay those tickets.
Caller,
it's not on the government.
But caller, one will say also that the government has a problem. The system the government has a glitch in it, because you will go and pay the ticket.
Hold on. The system has a glitch, right?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I will say, for instance, I am driving and I get 5 tickets, right? It is onus on me to clear those 5 tickets. Why do I have 100 tickets?
Yes, but the fact of the matter is, caller, they go and pay those 5 tickets. I want to pay the 5 tickets. A warrant was sent out for them same way again. There's an incident where a man paid for a ticket and he got locked up.
All right, listen, that's what I'm saying. There should all stakeholders, right? The way technology is first, right? And we know that technology can have flaws. I am saying that all stakeholders have a hand to play in what is going on. We need to correct the inefficiency that is happening in the public sector. It is happening too long. The Transport Authority have a hand in it. The minister have a hand in it. The lawmakers have a hand in there. The insurance have a hand in there. Everybody have a role to be played, and if those roles are not played, the system will not be corrected.
But Madam caller, you're contradicting yourself, you know. Are you aware? Because here you are, you started out first to identify that there's a glitch in the system. Now the glitch that is in the system, it is not the owners or the operators that create that glitch, and the onus is not on them to fix that glitch. The onus is on the governing bodies to fix those glitches. And once those glitches are there...
Conrad, we lost you a while ago. What people are saying.
Good. I am saying to the young lady that she was contradicting her own self, because she started out by saying that there's a glitch in the system. No, the glitch that's in the system, that which is not caused, was that caused by the operators or owners or motorists generally? Because remember now that this anomaly we're talking about as it relates to people pay their ticket and it's reoccurring as being unpaid. It's not just with public transport.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Sir.
It's not just, hold on, ma'am. Hold on. I listen to you. I listen. Just hold a second. It's not just with public operators. It's also impact and private motor vehicle operators as well. So therefore, I believe that the fact that the government agencies, they have an issue and so on, then the onus is on them to basically fix their issues and basically offer a reprieve to the citizens of Jamaica and start afresh. There's a new traffic act coming into force, and I believe that they should wipe the slate clean before that act come into being.
You know, I wish I had Diane Dennis. I wish I had Diane Dennis number. You know, I lost my other Jamaican number. I'm gonna let you talk, Sir Clark. I wish I had Diane Dennis number.
To say something. Let's
hold on for me. I know. Hold on, please. I know he wants to say something. I'm just saying something here. I wish I had Diane Dennis number because Diane Dennis is well versed when it comes on to the whole Road Traffic Act that is coming out. Sir Clark, you have something to say? Go ahead. The caller is still online.
Yes, caller. You touched on a few things, and as Conrad was saying, you kind of counter some of what you were saying before. One of the things you must realize that is a major problem in the system. There shouldn't be the possibility for police to issue more tickets after there's already outstanding tickets or tickets with warrants on it. The police should have already taken that person into custody with a warrant or outstanding tickets. They should have taken them in to get them addressed. Another thing that you need to realize, most of the traffic stops that happen with these taxi or busmen is not just one ticket is being issued for the actual initial stop. The police sometimes go overboard and give excessive tickets. And one of the major problems, especially in the Kingston area, is that they're getting for stopping on a bus stop or no bus stop, obstructing traffic, body protruding, excess passenger. Those are some of the simple tickets. It's not like careless driving or where everybody's trying to blow it up like it's some reckless drivers out there. Yes, there are a few, but it's not all of them that have all these outstanding tickets. There's one driver that told us of a case where each morning he come out, within half an hour him coming out, it's two that the police stop him and give him 4 tickets each every morning. So they're going to accumulate. So that is what one of the things that the government needs to address and the JCF needs to address is how they issue tickets and how many they issue. You can't stop a man for running a stop sign. And you give him ticket for badge, you give him ticket for this, you give him ticket for that. You're stopping for running a stop sign. That is the offense. That is what initiates the stop. You can't be just giving these, and when you can't find anything, you give him for mud flap. Can't make with mud flap. Mud flap requirement on the ticket books is for trucks, not motor cars. So there are some of the tickets that are in breach, some are illegal, some are the wrong fine structure. So why should a driver pay a ticket with a wrong fine structure on it that is illegal or a spoiled ticket? Why should he pay for a spoiled ticket or pay for a ticket that does not exist on the books? Like the one we talked about, likely to obstruct traffic.
Yes.
What is like you don't commit something?
Yes. I have caller, you have something to say, caller?
Yes, I'm here.
You have something to say now? Go ahead.
Right. As an individual who was in the sector for 12 years, I can say that I live in the KNTR, and even the badge that many persons supposed to have, it's a 1-2 to acquire that from the Transport Authority. I have a police friend who work at the traffic headquarters as well. And as I said before, the sector is made up of several branches and several areas. We just need to cooperate and make things effectively. Many drivers out there have 4 tickets, 5 tickets. They don't want to pay them. So those tickets continue to accrue until they reach 50. I'm saying that the onus is on us as individuals. If I get a wrong ticket and I know that ticket is wrong, I can contest that ticket. Also, if time passed and I don't pay my ticket as well, I can go into the court and make dates. I am saying that we need a transport system, a public transport system that is safe, effective, and customer focused for a person like myself who commutes each day and take public transportation. Mr. Ardisha, the minister, need to look at what's happening in the transport authority, look at their mechanism, look at the legislation parts of law regarding public transportation. The stakeholders need to have partnership with everybody that educates each and every individual for us to move forward.
Yes. Mr. Finnegan, you have something to say? Go ahead, Mr. Finnegan. Unmute your mic.
Just in response to the caller.
Yes.
She just mentioned that, well, she started off quite well, in my opinion. Then she went on to contradict herself, and then she went on to be putting the total blame on the operators. Now, I am not here to defend any operators because I'm aware of the small amount of operators.
Go ahead. Mr. Finnegan?
This behavior is the majority of our operators are misbehaving on the road when there's no evidence to show that. So she said it is 1-2 to get Badger Transport Authority. Well, I want to tell her that it is 1-2 to get the receipt when you pay the money. But we have drivers that have been waiting over a year for their badge and don't get it. And when the Transport Authority stop them and they don't have the badge and they show the receipt, the Transport Authority accept the receipt. But when the police stop them, the police say receipt is not badge. So they get ticket even though they pay for the badge and the Transport Authority is not delivering the badge. When we met with the minister in August, we brought that to his attention. The Transport Authority personnel says, yes, they're having some problem with the distribution of badge. And what they normally do is write to the Commissioner of Police and ask them for a 3-month waiver. So the police would have accepted the receipt. 3 months later, when we went back to a meeting in November, that issue has not been addressed. And the operators are still getting tickets for badge even though they have receipt. Now, our operator was stopping the parade by the Transport Authority. The operator have everything to the T. They couldn't find anything to charge the operator. They pass on the papers to the police. The police charge the operator for any other offense. To date, we don't know what that is. Any other offense when the Transport Authority found out that they couldn't charge that operator for anything. The other thing I want to bring to the caller attention is that we saw a printout yesterday from one of our operators. He had a charge on it for operating an articulated vehicle. This man said the biggest vehicle he's ever driven in his life is an IS bus. He has never gone around a truck, never gone around a big bus, never drive a coaster. But there's a fine on the ticket for driving an articulated vehicle. I tell him that he need to put that before his lawyer. Our operator spent 2 years in prison. He came out 2020 for traffic offense that he couldn't pay. Those that were not paid, his boss and another owner pay them. He spent 2 years in jail. He has been out 2 years now. He said he has never gotten even a seatbelt ticket in the 2 years. But the second Thursday in December, he was picked up by the police and warrant for all the tickets he went to prison for. And the list goes on.
So Reverend Finnegan, when you all went to the meeting with the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi in Parliament, you all didn't tell them this?
I can tell you, Mr. Jeffrey, Mr. Newman directly pointed out to the ministers of the defects that are in the system. I can attest to that. He did in every one of the meetings. And that has been also pointed out to the minister when we met with him in August and when we met with him in November. Remember now, we have sent 4 letters to government asking them. I hear this lady speak, the caller speaking about we we get the tickets and don't want to pay. I have never spoken to a driver who refused to pay his ticket. All our drivers want to pay. The petition that was signed, they want to pay. The letters that we sent to the minister, they want to pay. All we were asking for, a payment plan. Give us some time because we don't have the money one time. Government refused to do that. And now they bring it right down to pass the law 20 days before the deadline, which they know that it is going to be impossible for that to happen. So it is clear that even from the government side of Jamaica, there is a serious attack upon the public transportation sector. And my worst fear in it, is the investors that invest millions of dollars in it. Those who have one car and several cars, one bus and several buses, has been very silent on the issues. The operators are more taking it up than the investors, and I'm wondering if the investors are not smelling the coffee.
Well, I have an investor here on the program with us now, Mr. Bruce Miller. Sir Miller, unmute your mic and tell me what the dickens is going on. Sir Miller?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
You're saying what is going on? Be specific.
In other words, as what Mr. Finnegan is saying, that he maybe haven't heard anything from the investors pertaining to pertaining to the whole ticketing system. Are we getting so much tickets and so forth? Have you gotten a hold of the tickets though?
Why my record is as clean just like Jesus' record,
Okay.
Because me try to toe the line, but I mean, nevertheless, my fellow colleagues in the sector, they're paying. I feel it just the same, But one of the reasons why I think they are this transport sector, it is kind of a selfish business, where people kind of not really business with a next man. It becomes a concern when the issue comes at their doorstep. And what is happening now? Why you see that strike that was pulled off, that withdrawal of service on the 14th of November. Mm-hmm. The only way you can get an effective withdrawal of service, is when the operators say that them can't work. And you see, I am seeing on the horizon that you're going to have
it's 8 o'clock.
We have a big issue coming at the end of this month, when the drivers them can't work, And with the investors and the owners now, I think one of the problems why you don't hear anything, is that we have lost confidence over time with the leadership, persons who are parading to be leaders are what you call
as you said that, I have something to play, but go ahead.
The persons who are parading to be persons who are advocating for the sector. We have lost confidence in them. And I think in the last a couple of months, there's a new kid on the block. I won't call any name because his actions, it is speaking loudly, but we don't have any confidence in the leadership, the persons who say that they're leaders. So maybe that could be a reason for the silence.
I see where yes. Anybody else have anything to say who is on the Zoom link here with us? Go ahead.
Yes, Jeffrey, I wanted to address something that the caller said earlier, that she referred to the leader of the sector. And she referred to the person by name, Mr. Newman, that he needs to educate the persons in the sector. But Mr. Newman himself needs education too, because him flip-flop with his opinion, or his ideas, or his strategies on how to deal with the issues. He keep flip-flopping. So when you hear the majority saying one thing, him jump And then when the minister says something, him jump on back the ministers. You have to be leading a sector where you have one goal. Is the goal and the best and utmost best interest of the sector. Not what go for government or to suit government. It must affect the sector in a positive way. So whatever the sector needs, that's what you're supposed to be advocating for. I can't understand some of these association presidents like Mr. Styles in flip-flop. But when you speak to the real president, Mr. Barr, you hear a different kind of speech. Now we have a new group on the block, and they're saying one thing, and they stick to one thing. And they come together as a group and make decisions, and that is what they advocate for.
Yes.
But when you have one man and make decisions for themselves, to suit themselves, then I have an issue with that. So, Carl, I'm thinking if you withdraw that statement. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Clark and the caller. Mr. Newman is no leader for the sector. Mr. Newman is no leader for the sector. Maybe him tell himself that. We as the investors is our business. Mr. Newman is no leader for no sector. So let me just correct anybody who may be getting this thing twisted. He is no leader for the sector.
And why would you say that, Mr. Miller?
Because Mr. Newman don't, I mean, for the most part, Mr. Newman don't speak on behalf of me and my fellow transport operators. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties now, but what I can say, Mr. Newman is no leader. I don't like that term. He's no leader. Him is somebody out there who is talking, but him is no leader.
Thank you.
Mr. Bruce, everybody run to him though in terms of media.
Hold on for me, Mr. Clark. Hold on for me. There's somebody else who want to say something. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good night, Mr. Tavares.
Good night, sir.
My name is Tigana Madden. You did an interview with me some time ago.
Tigala Madden?
Yes, sir.
You're the one who called about the birth certificate office?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I am the one who started the strike on September 9th.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is the reason? What is going on? Go ahead.
Okay, sir. My views, as I said before, because...
Speak up a little louder. We can hardly hear you.
Okay. Are you hearing me now clearly?
Loud and clear from Negril Point tomorrow and part of the House of Parliament too.
Okay, sir. Yes, this is my views on everything that's been going on within the sector. First of all, this caller, I was listening to her. She needs to come inside of the sector, just even sit in a public transport vehicle and listen to what a police officer, I'm not saying all, some of them, how they deal with situations. Once they stop you, the first thing they're telling you that they don't like red plate operators.
Who is saying that to you?
Police.
Them not like red operator because why? Because them have white plate on the road too?
Police tell you that straight. And that's something that we hide. I am not saying all. Some. Secondly, I am the one who started the advocation for the bus stop along Constant Spring Road, which the officers are hiding to ticket you for when there are positive development along the sectors, along the stretch, but nobody takes the time out to think about that.
But Mr. Madden, let me say something to you now. No police that I know so far in the laws of Jamaica should be hiding under any tree. He should be visible. And if a police stop, hold on for me. If a police stop you without his proper attire, in other words, if he doesn't have on the hat and have gloves on his hand, you're not supposed to stop and take it from him.
And them by right, them not supposed to in on a black suit and stop you either.
So why not take it from them?
But I am just one of the few persons who are within the sector that is educated towards where the Constitution as well as the Road Traffic Act is concerned. how many persons out there have educated themselves? That is another problem that we're also having.
You know, thank you very much. There is something that I want to play, and people may say that I have a vendetta or whatever I call it against somebody. I don't. But I heard Mr. Clark from St. Thomas said that the president of the Transport Authority Development Sustainable Services, Mr. Newman, flip-flop and flip all over the place. Now I want to play something. And I don't have nothing against Mr. Newman. Not one single thing against the good gentleman. But if you're speaking for the public transport sector, Mr. Newman, you can't be speaking on two sides of your mouth. I want to play this. Hold on for me, because
Let me be very quick to respond to your mark, post at 3:39. I have no problem with that piece of regulation. And person might say, because I'm gonna have taxi, I'm gonna have car. I don't care. I believe if you get a traffic ticket, you have two things to do, and I repeat myself. Contest, pay or contest or pay. If you don't pay, and it piled up on you not more than 10 tickets, not more than 10, you should not be able to renew your driver's license. So that is the driver now, his driver's license. Now the owner of the vehicle, I got to pay some penalty too. Because if you don't pay the outstanding tickets or contest them, you can't renew your road license. You shouldn't be able to do no business, didn't pay a light bill. Not even take out some furniture courts. I think we have to just do the right thing. So let's make up nice. And if we can't do more, let's go for the demonstration on issues that will allow us to reach that stage.
now want to tell me something now. Mr. Newman. Edgerton Newman. Who are you really representing? You're going to tell the public transport sector that they shouldn't even can take out or pay their light bill or take out things at courts. And then in the same breath, Mr. Newman, you went on national radio and said these words?
Absolutely no way that we can come up with $3.5 billion to pay government by the end of this month. Parliament meets on Tuesday. And if we go to Parliament, quite likely it will go to the Senate. We are not paying one single dollar until we know what Parliament says. Because if the operator goes to the court and pay, now, let's say the opposition opposes it and says you must pay the demerit fine. What happened to the man who pays for his ticket early Monday morning? He's going to lose his license. Is it that government plan this so that more money can come in this coffers? 37 policemen in Hartford yesterday. How many policemen in the volatile communities that we have government? Is that because the government get no money from the government, only get money from the taxmen? I leave it there. For you can choose that.
Now tell me something now, Mr. Clark, Mr. Finnegan, and Mr. Miller. Start with you first, Clarky from St. Thomas. How on earth can this individual, and who are vexed as him can vex with me, you know? I don't have up this man. But the truth is the truth. You can't be taking for government. In the same breath you're saying to the public transport sector, then take away your license. You shouldn't be able to renew your license or even pay a light bill. Now tell me something. Who are you representing? Who are you really representing? Mr. Clark?
One answer for that. Ejota Newman and Tots, that's who he's representing. He's not representing the sector. Because, like I said, he never sticks to a point. He flip-flops according to where the fanfare is. And, you know, when you realize his most interest is in launching things and not about the real needs of the sector. If you looked at the tapes that came out the 14th when the first demonstration went on, that was initiated by that new group. And the days leading up, he was bashing that group, you know. And when it came down to the night, one voice. One voice up to the Sunday night. And when the thing looked like, say, yes, it's gonna be well supported, he started to endorse and to big up the other persons from One Voice. Minutes before he was bashing them. And all of a sudden he started to endorse them. The next day he went to all of the One Voice locations and he was saying something as if he was going to be disrespecting One Voice. And somebody said, and he catch himself and he started to cheer on One Voice. That is flip-flop. It means a real flip-flop slippers. And I'm not disrespecting him, just the truth. And people need to realize that they need a real leader for the sector. And One Voice is really representing the true needs of the sector. That's the truth. And until all these other persons that sign on to them other association realize these association presidents about the renewal fee and about if they can get a license for hustle and sell. That's all they're about. And whatever kind of sponsorship them can siphon off what half of it. That's what they're about. They're not about the true needs of the sector. Because if they were about it, we would not be in this position, Mr. Tavares. We would not be. We would not be with so much tickets outstanding. We would not be with where a minister can tell the sector, say, listen, we don't even fix up on a dirty drive in front before we give an increase. And you cheer on that? No real president would accept that. That's an insult. The government is a regulatory body and the government's supposed to regulate the sector if the sector is out of hand. They must have systems in place to control the rude behavior. And if the truth be told, it is an excessive of issuing a ticket. So it make it look like this sector is so bad. I don't say there's not some dirty apples. They are. And yes, they need to be rooted out. Yes. But people need to realize that what is happening that is coming February 1st is not for taxi and busman alone. Hello, somebody. It will catch the private operators too. So I'm proud of get take what you know. Watch and see. Leave you with that.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, sir. All right. The two recordings that you played, the first one, I listen his platform daily.
Yes.
And the statement, the first one, him rack up a whole heap of backlash. I mean, the transport operators, they never take too kind to those words, to his statements. So now he started now to explain himself, saying that no, what he was saying was he was repeating what the government official was saying. But I want you to play back the tape. He in the voice note, he said, they should not be able to. Him never said they will not, Him said they should be able to. So when you say should be able to, that means that is your words, He's saying, that his statement, it was his words, If he had said, if you don't pay your tickets, you will not be able to go to courts or will not be able to go JPS. He said they should not be able to. So that means it is his words. And you see, I don't like when people dishonest and talk all kind of things and then try to come and, change up and whatever, like they think we are fools, We're not fools out here,
I'm going to play back the tape again. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just commenting on the tape, and that is my take.
Yes.
Let me be very quick to respond to your mark, post at 3:39. I have no problem with that piece of regulation. And person might say, because I'm gonna have taxi, I'm gonna have car. I don't care. I believe if you get a traffic ticket, you have two things to do, and I repeat myself. Contest, pay or contest, contest or pay. If you don't pay, and it pile up on you not more than 10 tickets, not more than 10, you should not be able to renew your driver's license. So that is the driver now, is driver's license. Now the owner of the vehicle, I got to pay some penalty too. Because if you don't pay the outstanding tickets or contest them, you can't renew your road license. You shouldn't be able to do no business in pay a light bill. Not even take out some furniture courts.
I remember Robert Bobby Montague said something, You must not take away the man's tool of trade, and his license is a part of his tool of trade. Mr. Finnegan.
Yes, sir, Jeffrey.
I don't want, based on what the gentleman just said in his voice note, what is your views on it, sir?
Well, that voice notice, it was last week, Sunday.
Yes.
And before he hung up the voice note button, I was on the platform. I was the first responder to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember quite well, I said to him, how are you a leader in the sector? And you are now suggesting that when the government of Jamaica, through the courts, finish with the driver by suspending or revoking his license, he can't transfer his vehicle, can't sell it, can't renew his road license. Then you are suggesting that not even the private sector mustn't be able to do any business with. Can't pay his light bill, so the family live in darkness and it cut off. And if he had credit at courts will come for the furniture. And I said to him, you are directly driving and sending our operators into a life of criminality. Because it's one thing for them to rake up these tickets, which by law, which I support the law, they must pay the fine. And if the fine is they are going to lose their license, well, that's what the law says. But then how could we in the sector now recommending that JPS and courts and quite possible other private sector entity must not do any business with them? And I have been on record saying, who are the true leaders of the public transportation sector? In my last comment just now on the program, I end by saying what hurt me the most is that the investors are silent. Well, Mr. Miller stated one of the reasons that could have caused the investors not to be speaking up because they lost confidence in the leadership. I want to say to this panel, since I've become at One Voice, I have had a couple of meetings with investors. And I remember when I spoke to an investor in the business over 40 years, and the investor asked me, who is having this meeting? Will it be a One Voice meeting? And I said to the investor, no, I am calling a meeting with the investors for them to tell me what are their concerns and what is their position on a particular issue. Now, within 3 hours, that meeting was put together. I wasn't even expecting to get that meeting so fast. I think 6 or 7 of us met, and all the other persons were investors. And my position is, if we're going to be leaders in the public transportation sector, representing the sector, then we must be at every given opportunity, dialogue with the investors. The most meeting I'm hearing about is with stakeholders. How stakeholders become first over investors. In my position, investors are first, operators are second, stakeholder in my book become third. And if I am going, and I believe that anybody representing this sector should have taken it in that order. But every time you hear of a meeting with stakeholders, the investors are always left out. When I began my road tour in November, I drove to Bagwalk in the night, Pole Harbor in the night, and the investors I met with up to 10 o'clock that night were bus drivers. Today, one of them called me and said, Mr. Finnegan, I haven't been driving since the night you met with us. I come off of the road because of the number of tickets he has. But he said to me, he sent some money off to help One Voice with their consultation fee. Imagine him come off of the road. But the level of respect he had for the One Voice group, he sent off his money today. I'm supposed to pick it up tomorrow. And I understand Mr. Miller's feelings when he's saying that the investors had lost confidence, because I can't believe, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yes.
That investor invests millions of dollars in the sector and see the sector going down by the oppression of the government and very quiet. Now I have an idea why.
You know something? Before Mr. Newman kicked me off my platform, let me make something clear again. I, Jeffrey Tavares, has nothing against the goodly gentleman. What I do not like, and I will say it publicly, if you're standing up for the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi drivers of this country, stand up for them. And if you're standing up for the Labour Party, stand up for the Labour Party. And if you're standing up for the People's National Party, stand up for the People's National Party. But it can't be that on one hand, you're standing for the sector, and on the other hand, you're standing for the government. It cannot be. In the chat room now, my father is 72 years old, and I have 155 tickets. What if I go to prison or get my license suspended for 2 years? Who's gonna help? Who not feeding Papa? And Mr. Newman have the audacity to encourage government to take away people's driver's license. No wonder. This media house, and listen to this. Not Jeffrey Tavares, listen to this.
You heard it this morning it was in the news. Yes.
A well-known media house in Jamaica is calling for the president of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TADS, Edgerton Newman, to go. The person went on to say that the well-thinking bus and taxi operators should get proper representation.
You heard that statement from the TADS boss, Edgerton Newman? Which one? About buses not being able to go below Conscience Spring Tax Office. Mark my word, you heard it this morning it was in the news. Yes. And I had reason to comment on it in my piece this morning, that you cannot be wrong and strong. Yeah, you just can't be. And it signals once again, Tyrone, how we have normalized dysfunctionality in the country.
Is there no one to rescue public transport? The public transportation sector, is there no one to rescue it? Because clearly, and this is not the first time Mr. Newman is saying something that one can construe to be questionable, and really something that requires interrogation. Yeah, thinking taxi operators and PPV operators should seek better representation.
Is it? You hear what the gentleman said? Mr. Clark.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you.
You heard what the man said?
Yes.
The well-thinking bus and taxi operators should seek proper representation.
But
Mr. Newman,
Jeffrey,
you have done good for the sector, Mr. Newman. Don't get me wrong, But you cannot be representing the sector, representing the government at the same time. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, Cliff Hughes is saying what we have been saying over a year. No. You and I have been saying the same thing over a year. And I can guarantee you, Mr. Bruce Miller can attest to that. And maybe a few other persons that are on the platform or listening to it now can attest to that. We have been saying that. I'm not stop short of saying that. But the sector needs to unify and to come on a heading that is really interested or really committed to serving the sector to its fullest with its best interest at heart. Thank you.
Mr. Finnegan? Reverend Finnegan, you have your hand up?
Yes, sir, Jeffrey.
Yes, I see you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. One of our operator took the advice of the justice minister to go get loan and go to court. So he borrowed some money and got to court yesterday, a little over $80,000. The judge charged him $80,000 based on the fine and took his license, suspended his license for 3 years. That is one of the issues we're taking up in court because the parish judge, the maximum that they suspend license for is 2 years. His one was suspended for 3 years. But the point I want to bring across is that he begged for his license yesterday in court. He explained to the judge how old his youngest child was, and he is the sole breadwinner for the family. Nothing that he said yesterday in begging for his license, his tool of trade, the judge didn't budge. So he borrowed the money, pay $80,000 out of it, have no tool of trade to work, and he's now indebted to $80,000.
Dear God Almighty.
Yeah, yesterday that one happened in court.
And you know, that's why I asked the question, Reverend Finnegan. And I may sound like a scratch record. When you know, I think I'm lost for words. I am lost for words. Who is gonna save this sector? Huh? Who's really gonna save this sector? Now this man went and borrowed money to pay everything. And the judge could have some leniency. And you have, I mean, oh God Almighty, help us, Lord. We don't have enough time to leave on this program here. But the time has come for the public transport sector to really think about where is the sector going in 2023. Are we going to continue like this from 2022 to 2023? Are they going to continue to drag along? And people taking side with government? The government broke. Government have no money to do this, government have money for that, as if they sit in the House of Parliament. When are we going to wake up in this country and realize that we have the power? We have the power to do what we want to do, you know. The word minister means servant of the people. That's the meaning of the word. Minister means servant of the people. The parliamentarians are the servant of the people of this country. Yes, we must have respect for them, but some of them have no respect for us. Are we going to continue like this? Where in this country is going on a slippery slope? All because we are PNP or we are JLP? When are we gonna rise up in this country and say enough is enough? When? When are we gonna rise up? The amount of messages I'm getting on this platform here. One man has 16 tickets. This guy yesterday only had 15 ticket. I don't take any license. So what are they creating in this country? What if I gonna do? Go broke down people house and shoot them, kill them like blackbird? Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
It seems as if the government is setting up the commuting public to travel by foot or by donkey and cart. Because if there will be no drivers, how will they move? Unless they have a contingency plan to expand the fleet of JOTC overnight. Or maybe some entity will come in with some mysterious buses and cars overnight. That's the only thing I can see why the government is going down this line of how they're trying to deal with this issue, where they have not addressed the issue of the judges, what was promised in the MOU, that you would not pay certain tickets before 2018, and that you would not lose points and stuff like that.
You know something, Mr. Clark, sorry to butt in line. You know something? I think that when the good gentle people, the good presidents that went into the meetings with these politicians, is it? To get rid of them from out of the meeting, they say, yes, man, we want to do something about it. And they damn want to know that in order for anything to be in law, they have to go to Parliament to pass it, and in the Senate. So when they're pushing people to go and pay the tickets, they damn want to know that some of them licenses will be taken away. No, I'm trying to figure out, what are these politicians thinking? What are up their sleeves? They are creating mayhem in this country, you know.
Jeffrey.
They are creating mayhem in this country. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, let me say this to you. And I know I may get some flack for it, but the truth is just the truth. I have not heard any political party stand up in recent months since this issue has come to a boiling point. I've not heard the opposition. All I'm seeing is the government posturing itself by making false and empty promises, and then you see the big and drop. I've not heard any potential new party come out to defend these operators. But let me say this to you, drivers and investors. Is it gonna be business as usual the next election? Is it gonna be the business as usual the next big conferences? Where is the same bus and taxi that is being oppressed and losing license? No. Is transporting persons to these big conferences or these big election days, where it's the same bus and taxi carry the people, you know? So if they're not standing up for you, no. On a memory shot, and I need to remind them the power that you carry, that taxi and busmen are indeed, sorry, an essential service. Because in COVID, a taxi save a lot of things, you know. Whether you want to believe it or not. And when they were quarantined, people coming in off of ships and planes, and the same bus and taxi move them to, you know. Every disaster or every accident on the road, the same bus and taxi, the same dirty driver, them, you know. Many lives they save, many workers they carry late night and early morning. You have some buses that run from my parish to Kingston as early as 3:30, carrying children to school in Kingston or workers. Some travel right through the night, right back through the day, carrying persons up and down. Hello, somebody. Commuting public. I don't hear you standing up for the sector either. Yeah, man, take out their license. Yeah, man, give them ticket. But the same taxi and busman are carrying them. Remember that. Remember that. When my vehicles are down or whatever, I have to jump in a one. And some situations you just don't want to drive. You have to jump in a taxi or a bus because you want to move quick. You understand me? All of us at some point need it. And if you broke down a road, how would you think I can rescue you? Just remember that.
You know, a person on the chat room, I think Mr. Blake, Yes, or Miss Blake is saying that how come there's a transport center in the middle of halfway tree and no taxi can go in there? And how comes the transport authority continue giving out road license and this is a proper parking facility in the heart of halfway tree? I have been asking this question time and time again. Where the old housing ministry is in front of mothers in halfway tree. They put a car malt on that property. It is owned by the taxpayers of this country. And the same person, Delroy Truck, who encouraging people to go and pay tickets, hasn't answered the question, who is the owner for that car malt and taxpayers property in halfway tree? Is one of the friends and cronies? The public need a proper park, the public transport sector need a proper parking facility. That dilapidated building, where asbestos is inside of it. What do you do? On a plan for sell it to one of the friends and cronies? And these taxi drivers and bus drivers, you must stop this partisans about not paying a jail, you know. You understand not putting it nowhere. You're not putting it anywhere. And the time has come for to rise up in this country. When I get in the road license, you have nowhere to park. All because the government held bent on making money off of uno. Be like the people of Sri Lanka and Lithuania. Uno one day thing uno can't happen. How on earth can we continue giving out road license after road license after road license every year? And there's a proper parking facility in the heart of halfway tree. Put a bus terminus there. Put a taxi stand there. Lease a building. Put up something there. I will lease a building for you. Me will lease a building for you. Put a taxi stand there with a nice market and whatever. Where Max will park taxi halfway. Come on, Mr. Clark, help me. Max will park taxi. Hagley Park Road taxi. Wherever taxi can go, they can park.
Taxi for east, west, north, and south.
There you go. When are we gonna wake up Jamaica and stop the whole thing of I am a PNP, I am a JLP, I'm a party. What the party doing for you? We come here by labor pain. We didn't come here by party plane. We come here by labor pain. When we're born a PNP or a JLP, stop the damn nonsense. My God Almighty, man. Reverend Finnick, in your final word before we go. Reverend Finnick, are you there? Sir Clark, your final word before we go. Because as far as me see, this country gone.
Jeffrey.
Yes, your final word before we go, sir.
Yeah, but just want to say that the One Voice group, we do not support, do not condone, and we do not defend the drivers that are causing mayhem out there on the road. And we believe that the police who are agent and agency of the state have a right by law to enforce the law to help rid the street of our country of those type of drivers. So while we represent the public transportation sector, we do not condone or defend or support those drivers that's still out there doing their out and bad. I remember I was personally called about a driver that was taken up on warrant during the holiday. I did my investigation, and what I found out is that he had two front. Saw the police, still stop a little from the police to pick up another passenger. So he draw the police attention to him. And by the time they were ready to ticket him for the two front, they realized that he had warrant. And then they were going to call me. So when I heard what happened, I didn't investigate that one any further. The point I'm trying to make is, while we are going into February 1, if we get there, I am appealing to the drivers within the public transportation sector, in particularly, and the drivers on the road in general.
We're losing Mr. Finnegan. Reverend Finnegan? The signal is not good. Reverend Finnegan, we're losing Reverend Finnegan. Sir Clark, your final word. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. This is Make We Talk Transport. Wherever watching and listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean, it's Make We Talk Transport, trying to speak up for the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi drivers in this country who need proper leadership. They don't need a leader of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi. They don't need a leader of the People's National Party or the Jamaica Labour Party. They need a leader who is not affiliated with any government entity in this country. So the time has come for us in this country to stand up for our fundamental rights in this country. I am not saying that the ticket shouldn't be paid, but the fact of the matter is the government need to fix their system. They know the system has a glitch. Is it that when the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers pay off this much $1 billion of ticket at the whole? Is the roads gonna be fixed in this country? Is the roads gonna be fixed in this country? You know, from when the road from 3 Mile go down to downtown Kingston want to fix and I know it can't fix. From what we killed Philip and Philip dead. You know from when that piece of straight want to fix? And until now it hasn't been fixed. My fellow Jamaicans and my fellow bus and taxi operators, put your business first. Put your investment first. Party can't help you. And I hope you all realize that come local government election or come general election, you don't lease none of them bus. You must miss a damn licky and nyami. When the time come for them to call for you to get on the bus to go do so, you don't do it. But they call for the JUTC bus. And in the last conference that the Labour Party had, I don't hear Desmond McKenzie come and talk about the people who wasn't about the JUTC bus. The people who want about the JUTC bus. I don't hear Desmond McKenzie talk about it. I don't hear Gary McKenzie talk about it. I don't hear the great Radcliffe Lewis talk about it. You bus and taxi operators are full of money they spend. Protect on investment. And I hope when the election time come around, on the day on the yard and park up. On the sweat on the door, no? On the sweat on the door, no? Mr. Clark, your final word.
Just to add to what you're saying, Mr. Tavares, successive governments have not addressed these glitches in the system. Senior Superintendent Radcliffe Lewis was on one of your programs some time back, and he highlighted that there is 5 different agencies that these tickets pass through. And that is where the problem, where the crux of the matter is. And successive governments have not addressed it. The problem is that they're using it to balance the budget. It's an income generator. The truth is there's over $3 billion to be refunded to drivers. And when will that happen? If they refunded some of this money that was supposed to be refunded, maybe the driver would have paid me the ticket and I take the money and say, use it to pay off my ticket then. But no, all you do is trick them and play them money, give them a short notice, and a short notice that never had any strength to it because they're still losing their license. They're still having points taken away off their license. Licenses are being suspended. Persons are being imprisoned. All of that they asked, they didn't get. And I'm saying this is obvious. A con game. This is the uttermost heights of extortion. It's an extortion. The government, how they handle this payment plan request is no better than the man that they have been highlighting. You know, say, come out of this. No different. Because basically that's what the government is shouting through the courts. It said they must come out of the sector. When you're going to take a man tool trade, you're going to a man carries his tool trade. You're going to take his driver's license with his tool trade. You're going to bombard him with tickets every day. Then he will always have excess ticket. He will always can't pay. He'll always lose his license. You're telling them come out of this. So they're not different from the clown. I tell the people come out of the car. No different. Those are my few words, Mr. Tavares. I behave myself tonight here. But I love to hear from Fatima.
This is Make We Talk breaking news. News just coming into us. News just coming into us. Reports are that the Speaker of the House of the Virgin Islands, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives in the Virgin Islands has been arrested on human trafficking charges. News just reaching us that former Speaker of the House of Assembly in the Virgin Islands has been arrested on human trafficking charges. Jeffrey, shut him up because we want to say cancer. Nobody's above the law.
And I love to hear from that person, Fatima. You know.
Pardon me?
There's somebody on the page named Fatima Alamin. I'd love to hear
Fatima, you have anything to say before we go? You know, as what somebody writes in the chat room that I'm talking to dead people. In other words, we're talking to the dead people in the public transport sector. Anyway, this has been a Make We Talk, a special edition of Make We Talk here on the Make We Talk YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We will continue to speak out about the injustice that is going on within the public transport sector by the government of Jamaica and by other officials in this country. And any other topic. We continue to speak out against it because where there is injustice, I can't stand it. I don't like it. And I will not be a part of any injustice in this country. You see? So I'm saying to my fellow Jamaicans, the time has come for us to rally around a single cause and a single purpose. And the single cause and single purpose that we must rally around in this country is to stand up for your fundamental God-given rights. And I say to you all this evening, know your rights in this country. Get a chance to sit down. Get a copy of the Jamaican Constitution. It is on your phone. It is on your smartphone. Google the Jamaican Constitution and know your fundamental rights, Jamaicans. Bus and taxi operators, know your fundamental rights. Bus and taxi operators, get a copy of the new Road Traffic Act and read it. Wake up. Jamaicans, wake up.
Look at your phone.
Jamaicans, wake up. It can't continue like this anymore in this country. Can't continue. It cannot continue. And I say to you tonight, until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. May God bless Jamaica, land we love. And do not give up. Do not give up. For all those whose cares has been our concern, the work goes on, the cause endure, the hope still lives on, and the dream for a better Jamaica shall never die. Good night, everyone, and thank you all for coming on. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all.